Good evening, December 31st, 2018, 9:36 p.m. Last broadcast of the year, last recording of the year, I guess. That's all right. I just only started doing them again. I don't know if I'd done any earlier this year or not, now that I think about it. All right, so let's get right down to it. We're looking at the profile from today. I'm going to close this overnight session and take a look at today's session at a couple things that happened since my last update, which was, I think, just before noon, sometime between 11 and 12. All right, so I just went to actually kind of close down the machine and had noticed what had happened in the runoff period. And the reason I just thought, well, I really ought to make a video about that, because this was an opportunity, but it up here in end period, you can see, and again, this area I placed in here 7:30 this morning. And I personally would not have traded a runoff period, especially in this market. I did not actually watch the price action, so it may not have been advisable. Nevertheless, knowing that if it was whippy and you did get stopped, you might actually lose another tick or two because of slippage. This could have been a very low risk reward if you kind of believed in this area and saw the overnight high. You could have gotten short either right under it, just above it, expecting, as we've seen, a lot of these areas are fairly porous, and it came right within a tick of the top of this little zone I'd put in here. Someone could have, put a stop above here and gotten long just above the overnight high, below. Or if you sat here right on the edge or right up here, you wouldn't have been filled. But anyway, let's say you took this trade in this area, you liked what was happening, you maybe used an alternative way of entering it when it was trading in this area, tick chart, 1 minute chart, whatever you use. And excuse me. I don't know how this transpired, whether N opened up, came down, then went up, or it was one time framing up. So odds are high it kind of jumped a little bit and went up, then came back down. I don't really know. However it transpired, that's a couple points if you manage that, so there's that trade. Another thing I want to point out, and then I'll end the video. I put this level down here, I think during the video, as one of the extensions from the initial balance, and suggested that this was below the beginning of the overnight period, which was the runoff on Friday, which could arguably be the overnight low, and that's kind of how it performed. You also have some volume distribution here with some edges you could have looked at. Either way, that would have been a fantastic place if you wanted to try it. Again, you'd be catching, as they say, the proverbial falling knife. But it doesn't mean once it came through here and was trading back, and then you can start to see it's getting traction, and maybe it's not going to push down, or maybe you're going to take it for a scalp, and then move to break even and see what happens. Lots of ways to play it. So, but the point is, as I said on Thursday, I believe it was, every level is important. It's just how important is it? Well, this turned out to be pretty important, because had someone followed that up, let me see if I've got where's my risk reward calculator? I think I've got one on here somewhere. Here. Let's say that someone had used let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even a 6 tick stop. Okay. All right. So, and they had 2 lots. They could have taken one off at 6 ticks or 1 point. I'm not necessarily a believer in having a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. That's just thought stopping nonsense, in my opinion. I'll say it. That's where I stand on that today. I might change my mind one day, but that's actually been my conclusion, not my starting point. So let's move on up here. And again, this is quite fun to do sometimes, to see all the money left on the table or didn't make. I was not in the market at this time. You know what? I would have said, I of course am one who's, the more it's going and the more, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, what's to stop it from going up? Because it looks like it's going to take out the high, which it eventually did. Excuse me, take out the early morning high, which it eventually did. I probably, on a 1 lot, I would have not necessarily made it this far, but I have notoriously in the past, not so much in the markets in a long time. I used to be a one lot warrior as far as, man, I could get that thing to stretch. And that was a couple years ago. It was really a little bit easier. And I have not made a practice of trying to get tons of mileage out of it. I've been more of like, I'd rather like take smaller bites. But what does that come out to? Let's see. Let me put it over here so we can read it. Let's just say you got out. Let's make it even more conservative. Let's just say you got out the initial bounce low. Okay. What does that come out to? I think that says $1,250. I don't use this very much. 50 ticks. That's $1,250. So, that doesn't seem right. 50 ticks times 1250. That should be, I don't know why that's saying that. It should be like 750, shouldn't it? All right, got to get the calculator. It's late, and I think I said earlier I'm kind of tired. So let's see, 1250 times 50. That should be 750. No, less than that, 625. I don't know what this 1250 is. Okay, whatever. It's 50 ticks. I knew there was something wrong with this. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? It's on a 2 lot. That's why. That makes sense. All right, sorry. I had pasta for dinner and it's 9:30. I don't normally make a video this late, so don't stone me because I didn't instantly know the answer to that. I had to think. It was just like drawing a blank there. Did something. I had cognitive dissonance. There you go. So on a one lot, $625. That would have been a nice little move. You took a shot and risked 75. So that makes up for a lot of less than 2-to-1 ratios. Believe me. All right. Feel a little embarrassed about the maths problem there. But I was confused because I didn't realize I'd set this tool or have this tool tracking with 2 lots. So that's the problem. All right. Happy New Year. See you next year.